Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Let's click start. Welcome back to Nub Raids. In today's video, I've done some reasonably extensive testing to get a great first impressions for how good He-Man is in Hydra. Is that A3 scaling up with buffs any good or not? Well, I'm going to reveal everything here today. We're going to pitch him head to head against Trunda, Ninja, and Thor to see who comes out on top. I'm testing this on brutal difficulty. The reason is that this Krisk is speed tuned to brutal. I did try on Nightmare, and the speed tune broke. He wasn't maintaining provoke, whereas he does on brutal. So brutal it is. What were the rules for this? So I ran this to 50 turns of the boss, just so I wasn't here for literally all day testing stuff. Again, the goal of this is to get an initial overview impression. And I let each of the teams have 3 attempts, and I've got all of the scores that they got. I'll break down the average, how they look, etc. And we're going to have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery to basically compensate for souls, right? Because He-Man has a disadvantage. He-Man only has a 1-star soul because I don't have him, but I've got 5-star souls on Thor and Ninja and a 6-star on Trunda. So we're going to have to tweak the numbers a bit, and I'll break down everything I've done to explain it. That's basically what's going on. How is this team built? And we've got Lazarius in the lead for Speed Aura. For everybody, he's staying in Form 1 and just buffing. He is in a damage build. Now, if I'm going super hardcore with this team, I would swap him to 9-piece protection with high resistance, which is much better. He doesn't do crazy damage anyway. He's mostly just there for support and reviving. He's really good for Hydra. We've got Krisk in 9-piece Feral. We've got Grand Oak Podrick, I believe, is in... he actually might be in 9-piece protection. And actually, I'm looking at it. I thought he was in 4-piece Merciless 4-piece reflex, but maybe not. It looks I'm seeing protected buffs, which yeah, that makes me think he might actually be in protections. That's fine. We've got Merciless on all of the contestants for the damage spot, He-Man, etc. We've got Cursed Set on Venus. I would actually, by the way, I would really love, I'm missing a Feral necklace. Once I get a Feral necklace for Sacred Order, going on Venus. Venus is going into 9-piece Feral. She's got Decreased Defense Weaken, AoE. Got HP Burn AoE. It's not super consistent, but that's 3 debuffs. Also her A1, which didn't happen there. But she can place poisons with her A1. I think that could add up to a lot of damage with Feral. I think it would give us more damage than the Curse Set would. In fact, we could, if we really wanted Curse Set, we could put it on Krisk. Because I think Venus will bring more consistent debuffs than Krisk will. So she'd be better with Feral. Anyway. And then we got Shamael, and I think he's in random gear. Just whatever. He might be in reflex, actually. It doesn't really... He's just there to make the fears not do anything, right? I would use a Feral if I had a Feral, but I don't, so we won't. But that's it. I think that's all the rules we need to cover. You've seen a bit of a gist for He-Man here. Now, I will say, He-Man, in the gameplay you're seeing here in the background, he's in my normal He-Man gear. I stole Thor's gear for him for the purposes of this showcase, so that things would be equal. Things are getting kind of expensive. Like I said, I think Podrick actually might be in protection. But hey, we'll see. So first of all, Ninja came in. Now, Ninja had the best gear. 5-star Nature's Wrath. He has 6-piece Merciless and 2-piece Cruel. So that is giving him an advantage. 8.4k attack. It also meant he's got a bit higher attack than everybody else. 353 crit damage. I guess I could have stripped gear off of him, but you'll see, I don't think it really matters too much. In the first run for Ninja, he scored 108 million damage with the team. He did 45 million damage himself. On the second run, it was way better. 133 million damage from the team. He did 63. And then sort of a bit of a more of a midpoint on the third run. 124 million damage from the team. 58 million from him. So on average, across the 3 runs, is 121.6 million damage from the Ninja teams, or 55.3 million damage from him personally. The personal damage isn't really that important. What matters is how much damage your team does. But the personal damage is always interesting as well. So that was Ninja. Next up, we've got Thor. So Thor does not have the 2-piece Cruel. It's just spoilers, 6-piece Merciless. He does have 5-star Nature's Wrath as well. 8.1k attack, 353 crit damage. You can see, so this is why I didn't really bother regearing the Ninja. It would have cost several million silver. And I was like, I think they're close enough, and we can extrapolate a bit from the Cruel. It's enough to make a good enough judgment. But we can certainly do more tests with more teams in the future. How did Thor do? Well, Thor On the first run, 164 million damage from the team. He did 83 million. Pretty good. 149 million on the second run. He did 69. Still nice. And then the final run, 173 million, which is massive. He did 87 million damage. So Thor, needless to say, way ahead. His average 162 million for his team and 79.6 million for himself. So the 5-star Thor, massively ahead of the 5-star Ninja in this particular team. Now, this is something that's important. I've said this about Ninja many times. Ninja, without Lady Mikage, is a really good Hydra champion. But for him to be truly exceptional, he needs Lady Mikage. It's essential. She adds so much damage to him. Ninja's A1 hits extremely hard, and Mikage bringing in those extra A1s just lets the damage skyrocket. It pushes it to another level. And yeah, that really, really helps him. So it's not a surprise to me that without Lady Mikage, Ninja is not going to stack up to Thor. I think if you do have Mikage on the team, I think he pulls ahead of Thor, right? Like if we switch Podrick from Mikage, I would expect Ninja to actually beat Thor. But I mean, Thor is still absolutely amazing, right? Thor is brilliant. Ninja is still really good. This is not a bad score compared to Thor. Again, it's not bad. This is still really good, but it's just not quite on that level. Next up, we had Trunda. Now, Trunda is in 6-star Nature's Wrath. Merciless, 8.1k attack. And this is interesting. So again, I should also clarify, this is full auto, okay? Full auto is not good for Trunda. She has really long cooldowns. So what you will often see happen is she'll fire off her A2 when you've got multiple heads that are immune to damage. And it's, you know, that's kind of a waste. It's got long cooldown, etc. But she came in, again, pretty much the same stats, 8.1k attack, 361 crit damage, almost the same stats on her. How did she do? The first run, 155 million, so 87 million personal damage. The second run, my dudes, 222 million damage. She did 140 million. You know, I don't want wouldn't want to hurt people's feelings and say that there could be anything in any way slightly exploitable or, you know, perhaps badly designed about Trunda's A2, even after her rework. You know, it would hurt people's feelings to say that. So, you know, I people's feelings come first. I couldn't possibly say. No. So obviously what's happening here, there's a lot of randomness with this run on auto. The reason being, like, listen, if Grand Oak Podrick can reduce cooldowns with his A1, like, if that lands on Trunda, if Merciless set lands on Trunda, and she gets to start, if she lands a couple of A2s on decapitated heads when there's multiple decapitated, like, the damage just explodes. If that doesn't happen, then it doesn't, right? And also, this is why Trunda is particularly strong when you're running her in teams with, like, resets. And when you manual Trunda, it goes just to another level as well. The third run, by the way, 162 million. Sorry, I'm blocking it. 162 million. And she did, let's actually make this smaller. Let's scroll down. And she did 92. So her average, she did 179.6 million damage. And her personal average is obviously by far the highest with 106.3 million. So she did the best. Now, the thing is, she is 6-star, and actually it's very interesting. Well, actually, we'll talk about the implications of this, certainly for auto teams, when we get further. And we'll speak specifically about Crushing Rend, etc. It's very interesting. Now, here's the thing. It's hard to extrapolate how much damage you do at 5-star. She'd lose 15% extra damage that she gets from Nature's Wrath fully stacking. She'd also lose 15 speed, so she'd lose some stats having to build her speed a bit higher. Or, you know, she wouldn't be taking as many turns. I don't know. I said, let's keep it simple. I said, let's just reduce her damage by 15%. And if we reduce the score by 15%, I mean, this is not quite accurate, but I don't know how to be fully accurate. Like, it's impossible to simulate this because, like, if you're killing heads slower, then the whole Hydra mechanics change, right? So it's impossible to know for sure. I said roughly 15% less. 152.66 million. Let's actually make this 0.7 for simplicity's sake. And that would be personal damage of 90.4. What's interesting about that to me, it's obviously still miles ahead of the Ninja without Mikage, but Thor, actually, it's better. Less personal damage from the Thor, but his team damage has gone up. I guess one advantage for Thor as well in this testing is Thor does bring very consistent decreased speed. Whereas with this team, Krisk is the decreased speed, and he is, I mean, you can see he's got decreased speed on everything right now, but he is, he's not fully consistent. So Thor is bringing some utility. Trunda's also bringing some utility. She's bringing AoE burns, which is nice, right? That can help. We've got that with, Ninja's bringing some burns as well. They're kind of nice to supplement Venus, right? If Poison Cloud goes up, burn can let you hit through it if you get burn up first. So it's a small thing. Whereas poor old He-Man's not bringing anything. We'll see how he does with the 50 turns. He's going to be pretty low this time. He's in worse gear. How did he do in the actual gear? But yeah, I thought this is crazy. If my Trunda was 5-star, I think that in this full auto team, Thor, on average, would actually be beating her. I mean, it's pretty clear. Apart from that one run where she went crazy, Thor is pretty much doing better for being 5-star. And I think the blessings would make a huge difference because there's some specific things. We'll come back to that. He-Man with the 1-star Heaven cast. I'm going to actually make this smaller so we can see some damage numbers and whatnot over here. How did He-Man do? So He-Man has only got 1-star and it's Heaven cast. Well, he didn't do that amazing, or did he? Dun, dun, dun. We got to extrapolate some as well. So the 1-star Heaven cast, Merciless, he had 50k HP. I'll put his HP in there because he does scale off of HP. 7.3k attack, 310 crit damage. Now, this is where, again, it becomes difficult. He's losing out on a big chunk of attack and a big chunk of crit damage. He's missing out on defense as well, but that didn't matter. But he's missing out on attack and crit damage and also blessing damage from being only 1-star. And that's just really difficult for me to actually compensate for and test. I mean, we could jump through a lot of hoops, but I don't think it mattered. We're just looking for a simple comparison here. How did he do? Very consistent in his 3 runs. He's going to be slightly lower this time because, again, he's in worse gear right now. But the first run, 115 million, he did 44. Second run, 119 million, he did 48. The third run, 116 million, and he did 49. So very consistent numbers for him for a 116.6 million average with 47 million from him. Looks like we're going to be about 10 million behind the average here. About 10% from stripping off his gear, which seems about right. I'll show you the gear that he's currently in right now. Oh, hit turn 50, end it. Make sure not to save it. Here we go. He did 38 million this time. So yeah, pretty much bang on what we'd expect. His current gear, by the way, he's still in 6-piece Merciless, but this is the difference. Instead of 7.3k attack, for that run you just saw, he's in 5.7. He's gained 21k HP. He's also faster with this gear, and he's got 20 less crit damage. So he's doing about 10. He's doing a lot less damage, right? But he is fast. I think it's a better build for Arena, a bit more survivable and faster, which is what I've gone for. But I might be switching up my gear after this because this is obviously, if we look at these numbers, guys, he's obviously the last place. However, how much of an impact does that blessing have? And this is what I figured. I think a 5-star blessing probably gives him about 25% more damage, right? You're looking at an extra 650, almost 10% more attack, an extra 38% crit damage, almost 10% more crit damage as well, plus the extra damage from the blessing itself. I think it's probably around 25%. And if we increase the... Actually, I did this wrong. I did the maths wrong. I did the maths all wrong. Hang on. I multiply this. This is it. They're not the full damage of the team. I multiply this. Let me fix it. Here we go. Let me fix this. It's actually not as crazy as I thought then. Okay, phew. Okay, let's fix this. So the Trunda, it should actually be like this. Aha. It should actually be 163 million. Oh, maybe Trunda actually still wins. Aha. 163.7 million. Let me adjust my rankings. I made an error. Good thing I caught it. Hey, this is what talking things through for the video does. This is also inaccurate. The average score for the team hasn't gone up that much. It would be... So it would be, just clear everything, it'd be the 116.6, and then add on, and then we'll take away, so 58.75 minus the 47. Okay, so it'd actually be 128. 128.35. Okay, let me adjust the rankings before we go further. Okay, so we fixed the numbers. So if we add the 25% more personal He-Man damage, 25% more for him, it ups the team score to this. And with Trunda, she's actually higher than I thought, which is good thing that I fixed this. Whoop, hang on, I've got something in the background there. It shouldn't be there. Good thing I fixed this. The 5-star ranking, again, I'm not 100% sure, if I've calculated the stuff precisely for them, but hopefully it's close enough. And it's, again, to reiterate, it's in this particular auto team. If you built a Trunda specific team, she obviously pulls ahead. I do think this team is quite nice for He-Man. We want lots of buffs. Here it is. Trunda actually barely comes in first place with 163.7 million. Thor is just tiny bit behind her with 162 million. He-Man, decent chunk behind, 128.4. And then Ninja, a small bit behind the He-Man in 122. So I think He-Man actually overall, well, you know what? Bearing in mind, this is Ninja with Cruel. So he has an advantage. I think if we take Cruel away from Ninja, we reduce his damage by a bit, there'd actually be a decent chunk between him and He-Man. He's got a small gear advantage, which is pushing him up. That being said, I think He-Man overall comes last in this ranking because Ninja has the pairing with Mikage, which is available to an awful lot of players. I think once you add in Mikage, Ninja jumps up to Thor and Trunda level, whereas He-Man is still there. Now, the other and final thing, 6-star Crushing Rend throws a bit of a spanner in the works. Again, for this particular auto team. Why is that? Well, He-Man benefits the most. Why is that? Because at the moment, he's running Heavencast, right? He can't use Nature's Wrath. Nature's Wrath is a lot more powerful than Heavencast. It's giving you a much bigger damage bonus. So, for instance, I mean, let's go into Thor for the 5-star version. Nature's Wrath is giving Thor 15% more damage. And once he stacks it up, and he stacks it up within like 2 or 3 turns, like he stacks that very quickly to two A3s, and it's fully stacked, right? 15% damage permanently. Heavencast, depends on the number of buffs, it's 1.5%. Let's say we've got 5 buffs pretty consistently. That's only 7.5% more damage. Right? So we're getting an extra chunk of damage from Heavencast. From Nature's Wrath. The Nature's Wrath is just stronger. Now, when we go to 6-star, that is where Crushing Rend gives us a huge chunk of ignore defense, and that becomes extremely powerful. On Thor, it becomes the most powerful on He-Man, because going from Heavencast to Crushing Rend is a bigger upgrade than going from Nature's Wrath to Crushing Rend. So He-Man benefits the most. Ninja and Thor both benefit a lot. Ninja, I think, slightly less. His A3 doesn't fully benefit. He's ignoring defense anyway, but I mean, his A1 and his A2 are a bigger chunk of his damage. Those moves are going to keep hitting really hard. Funny enough, I wonder if you manual Ninja, maybe stopping to use his A3 if you got 6-star Crushing Rend might be worthwhile. I don't know, maybe. It doesn't make a huge difference. He benefits pretty similarly to Thor. Trunda does not benefit. Trunda, well, she does, but not that much. The reason being, her A2 is her big move, and this ignores 50% defense anyway. So Crushing Rend is actually not helping, because between Merciless and the area bonuses, she's already ignoring 100% defense on her A2. That's her big damage move. That doesn't benefit at all from Crushing Rend. So Trunda actually stays with Nature's Wrath. So yeah, she gains an extra 15% damage, plus the 15 speed, but she won't surge up. So I actually think if we were to do a 6-star ranking, I think Thor actually would come first with 6-star Crush in this team. Thor would be first with 6-star Crushing Rend. I think Trunda would probably still be second with 6-star Nature's Wrath. Ninja would probably be third with 6-star Crushing Rend, and He-Man would close the gap a decent bit. It would help him a lot with a 6-star Crushing Rend. It would be a bit closer. And yeah, I do think you put in Mikage, then maybe Ninja comes first, actually. He'd be very, very close to Thor. So it's pretty interesting, actually, all this stuff going on. Of course, Trunda, when you build a team around her, I think this gave a very good idea, right? This gives you a concept. That's just a random luck on full auto. When you control the fight yourself, you control the luck. And especially when you build when you build a specific team, right, she blows everything else out of the water. It's not even close, right? You get the gist. But in this, like an auto team like this, pretty interesting. Let me know what you think about this. But yeah, that's what I found. So is He-Man good for Hydra? Yes, he is good for Hydra. He's not the best, but he is good. There's no question. Thor and Trunda are exceptional. They are ridiculously good. And Ninja is really good as well. I I don't think He-Man is as strong as them. Ninja with Mikage, that is. Ninja with Mikage, Thor, and Trunda. They're my 3 main damage dealers. He is not as good as them. One small advantage he would have for sure is he is better than all of them by a lot in Arena. So if you're limited on gear, by putting your best gear on He-Man, well, you benefit from him in Arena as well. And obviously, for me, am I going to change up my teams? No, I'm not. Why? Because, well, I do have souls for Trunda, Thor, and Ninja, but I don't have a soul for He-Man. If I got a soul for He-Man, I'd actually rerun these tests and see to get like more fully accurate stuff. But yeah, I think, look, if you are an early or mid-game player and you pick up He-Man, not only is he going to be great for you in Arena, he's clearly very solid for Hydra as well. He's going to be better than most Hydra damage dealers. He's not the best, and I wouldn't want him to be. I wouldn't want a paid exclusive champion to be the best for Hydra. I wouldn't want that, but he's very good. He's very solid, but yeah, I do not think he's as good as Thor, Trunda, and I think he's better than a Ninja on his own, but Ninja with Mikage is going to blitz him. And again, reminder, that Ninja does have Cruel as well, so without Cruel, it might be like I don't know, 116 or something. It's going to be a bit lower. 118 maybe. I'm not sure. But you get the gist. There you go. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that you found it interesting. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.